Welcome to Telesur. This is From the South, from our studios in Caracas, Venezuela. I'm Carla Gonzalez. Let's begin with our stories. The Central American migrant caravans continue their path through Mexico on their way to the United States. A group of them has already entered Mexico City. After the unfulfilled promise of the state of Veracruz to provide them with buses to reach Mexico City, another group has decided to gather in Puebla. They want to rest and wait for the rest of the groups to arrive.
Well, I'm a bit exhausted because of the cold and because we have not eaten. Everything else is going well, thank God. I'm having health, I just have not eaten. What I want to do? Well, help my parents, get them out, give them everything I can.
One of those caravans is in Veracruz, where our correspondent Eduardo Martinez is following along.
Hacia la ciudad de Córdoba.
We are here in the community of Ciudad Isla in the state of Veracruz. Families have gathered here to continue their journey to the state of Córdoba. I want to show you how some families are in desperate need of transportation, which is very hard to find, because not everyone is willing to help them. Still, they are very grateful to those who help them with food, water, and clothes. Many people are in need of clothes since it's very difficult to bring luggage with them, mostly because it's difficult to walk for long hours with too much luggage. We will keep you updated as soon as we get more information about this migrant caravan that still has almost 300 kilometers to go.
That was Eduardo Martinez from Mexico. Renowned philosopher and activist Noam Chomsky has blamed the United States for the misery and suffering of the migrants in those caravans. And let's go to another story. The United States is guarding its borders with helicopters and barbed wires to face the migrant caravans. Since Friday, Donald Trump's administration has reinforced the southern border to prevent the mass entrance of migrants into the country. There are 5,200 additional soldiers and helicopters with night visions and motion sensors, drones, and barbed wire. All of this in the state of Texas, Arizona, and California. There are already 3,500 National Guard members who could reach 15,000 in total, according to Trump. Last Saturday, Trump referred to the imminent confrontation. He said that barbed wires used in a proper way can make a beautiful scene.
They hurt Mexican police. They hurt Mexican military very badly. They broke through. You saw it. It was on television. It was terrible. And so Mexico is trying. They are trying. But we're different. We more than try. We have our military now on the border. And I noticed all that beautiful barbed wire going up today. It was barbed wire used properly can be a beautiful sight.
A balloon that represents U.S. President Donald Trump as a baby has been launched by political activists in San Diego. This was done to reject Trump's administration policies over migration specifically in a town close to the border with Mexico. The balloon depicts an orange-colored baby Trump dressed with diapers, with small hands and an angry face.
He is infantile. He is like a toddler when things don't go his way. Do you ever see him get interviewed? And it's in some of our most horrific things that have been happening around the world. Hurricanes, shootings, bombings. He always manages to make it about him. Isn't that funny?
Donald Trump has moved the United States, if not into fascism, right up to the point where we're now in a fascist police state with threats of more wars.
So let's go back to the U.S. election. Among all of those seats to be elected, the main focus is on Congress. It's made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. They could be the political opposition for Trump under the Democratic Party or influence the possibility of his re-election in 2020 with the Republicans. The U.S. people will choose all 435 seats in the House of Representatives, and 35 out of the 100 seats in the Senate will be contested. This comes in the middle of the first term of U.S. President Trump. Jobs, healthcare, and immigration, especially with the approaching migrant caravans, are high on the political agenda.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Guatemala's President Jimmy Morales has arrived in the United States to discuss the migrant caravan. He will also visit a migrant shelter, which temporarily houses children who have been traveling alone in the caravan. He will head to Honduras next to meet with President Juan Orlando Hernández. Morales is also scheduled to visit El Salvador, where he is set to meet Vice President Oscar Ortiz.
These families have decided to push through.
And young Democrats in New York are reaching out to voters, especially in the Latino community. Let's find out more in this story.
Catalina Cruz is one of the faces of a progressive movement inside the Democrat Party, running as a candidate for the 39th District of the State Assembly of Queens. New York, she's campaigning door-to-door to motivate Latinos to go out and vote.
Estoy aquí, soy de nuestra comunidad.
This is my way of saying that I'm here, I'm from this community, I need to listen to their needs, so I can be a leader, and also to remind them that on November the 6th they have to vote.
According to Cruz, a lot of Latinos don't vote because they are disappointed in the system.
For a long time, the Democrats and Republicans have taken the issue of migration, our community, and the Dreamers as a political matter that they negotiate as they please without thinking what they are doing or how they are affecting people's lives.
Community activists highlight that a lack of information contributes to the indifference of the Latino community in the electoral process.
Even though some have information on voting, others don't have any information at all and don't take the time to look for it. So we try to motivate them and to give them information so they don't have excuse to not vote.
They have to represent themselves and think about their kids. If parents don't set an example for their children, they are going to remain in the shadows, and that's not fair.
According to social organizations, low participation is the outcome of several factors. One of them, the schedule of voting centers, which is not always suitable with that of schools. Also, ballot boxes are often set up far away from subway and bus stops. According to the Pew Research Center, 20 million Latinos are eligible to vote. However, in the last elections, under 7 million went to vote. Electoral participation of Latino voters changes a lot depending on the state. Latinos who live in Arizona and California are expected to see an increase in terms of participation. Other states with a large presence of Latinos are Florida, Texas, and New York.
A key election for the U.S. Coming up, we have more stories. Meanwhile, be sure to follow us. We are on Twitter. We are at Telesur English, and my account at Carla G. Telesur. So give us a follow. We'll be back. Welcome back. Let's continue with news. Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel has met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang. North Korean state media described the visit as a historic event, highlighting the invincible friendship of the two countries. The Cuban president is on an international tour. He already visited Russia and then will travel to China, Vietnam, and Laos.
I am coming back thanks to the call of President Nicolás Maduro. We are going to work together. I have been here for almost a year and I have had a good time. I'm going back after the president's call to work together in building the country, and it's worth it.
I'm going back because of my family, to see my kids and to continue with what I was doing. For me, Venezuela is something to be proud of. When you're abroad, you value your country much more.
That was some audios on the story of migrants, Venezuelan migrants returning home. Now we go to another story. A group of military personnel in Venezuela that was guarding the border with Colombia was attacked by a violent group, and 3 were killed. Venezuela's Minister of Defense, Vladimir Padrino, said on Twitter that a dozen more were wounded, including officers. He said this was done as a payback for capturing 9 members of paramilitary forces in the area who were in possession of heavy firearms. He tweeted several of these tweets with much more details and very important information for the country. And now let's go to Colombia, where the Ombudsman's office has denounced the displacement of 750 people, including 250 children, in rural areas of the department of North Santander due to clashes between armed groups. The massive displacement started this Friday from the municipality of Acari as the result of fighting between the National Liberation Army and the Popular Liberation Army. The United Nations has also issued an alert linked to the risks of new displacements in the same area. Now let's look at some pictures from the Day of the Dead. It was also celebrated in Bolivia, not just in Mexico. Citizens in Bolivia welcomed the souls of the dead with a feast as part of their indigenous culture.
They wait for their dead with parties, music, and a lot of food and drink. They've come a long way, so they are tired, hungry, and thirsty. In these rural highlands, the Aymara priests summon them with a song.
Amay Wawita, where are you? Where have you been? Where have you gone to work? I tell you to come. The Amora is calling you.
They set up shrines that feature the Tantawawas, the Aymara word that means children of bread, which represent the deceased. There are also horses, star, the sun, the moon, the stars, all made of bread, and all things that will help them to return and live again.
Every 1st of November, we recite at noon our souls. We have them the whole afternoon and until noon the next day, when we send them off. We go to the cemetery to pray and we make our souls go away happy because we put everything they like on the table.
In Aymara culture, there is only the passage to another dimension.
We are in a constant relation with the dead. It's not that they die and that's it. In the Aymara world, there are 3 dimensions. The Acapacha, where we are, the Mancapacha, with all the resources below the ground, and the Alajpacha, that it's above and has nothing to do with heaven or hell.
This is a party with several stages. These include preparing the food, the symbols made of bread, choosing the best fruits, making the drinks, and choosing the sweets and decorations. The whole family is involved.
I always tell my children about this custom. They have to keep this tradition alive in the future, because if we don't talk to them about it, they won't. And this custom that has arrived from abroad, Halloween, is not good for us. For me, it's not good.
The reunion lasts 24 hours. At midday on the 2nd, they say goodbye to the souls with music. The plentiful food is taken to the cemetery and shared with those who say a prayer for the soul of the deceased.
We'll take one last short break, but stay with us. As you know, this and all of the information that we can give you, you can follow along on our website. We have some interesting articles on the U.S. midterm elections. We also are following the Day of the Dead celebrations, the Venezuelans returning home, and the migrant caravan, of course. So go check it out, and you can share it on Twitter and Facebook as well.
We are always there tracking the news. We seek equality. We defend the truth. It's a hard job, but we are not alone. We count on a new ally.
Acompañamos a los pueblos que resisten en cada una de sus luchas.
Somos esa ventana que se abre para visibilizarlos entre fronteras.
Thursdays, only on Telesur.
为了保持身体健康，我冥想。
Para mantenerme saludable, yo corro.
To keep myself healthy, I study.
Για να διατηρηθώ υγιής, τρέφομαι σωστά.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo bailo.
Para mantenerme saludable, yo purifico mi espíritu a través del cuerpo. ¿Y tú?
Get your body. Tuesdays, only on Telesur. In a world infested by inequalities, abuse of power, and injustice, the American journalist Abby Martin covers the struggle for fundamental rights worldwide, deep into the search of files which uncover the empire's strategies through our screen and web platform in English. The Empire Files with Abby Martin. Tuesday, only on Telesur.
The ruling world order has always subjugated the masses. But who are the actors behind every move? What are their real interests? We analyze every move on Critical Move. Weekdays, only on Telesur.
Thank you for joining us again. Now let's look at what's happening around the world. Emergency services in Russia keep working to extinguish the fire provoked by the explosion of a gas pipeline in the city of Ryazan. The fire has mainly affected the nearby village of Ungur, but no casualties have been registered. So far, authorities have not reported damage in the surrounding populated areas. Hundreds of people in Syria have attended the funeral for a girl that was killed during a bombing near the Turkish border. Sara Mustafa died in the village of Tal Finder during a reportedly Turkish attack to Kurdish positions. Turkey had already announced it was planning military operations in the country.
All the children of the world live with their toys, except our children. They live with the sound of bullets, gunfire and cannons. Civilians, animals get killed without any regrets, but we will continue to defend our country.
In another story, dozens of people in a city in southern India went to the streets this Sunday to protest a court ruling that annulled the ban on women entering a temple. The temple of Sabarimala in the southern state of Kerala, which will open its doors to the devotees on Monday, has been the cause of tensions since the High Court of India ruled last month that prohibiting the entry of some women violated freedom of worship. The hardline Hindu groups say that a prohibition is required for women of menstrual age to enter to appease the main deity of the temple, Ayapan, which was represented as practicing god of yoga, considered eternally celibate by his followers. The African Union has warned about the loss of wildlife in the continent, mainly due to human activities. During a meeting in Rwanda's capital, Kigali, the organization has highlighted the importance of empowering communities around protected areas to develop a sustainable development for both people and animals. It has also stressed the importance of promoting strategies against poaching and illegal trade. And that brings us to the end of this news brief. But all of these stories, you can find more on our website, but you can also follow us on Twitter. We're constantly updating and tweeting everything that's happening in the region, in Africa, in the Caribbean. So go give us a follow and give us some hearts and retweets as well. And of course, all of this information and everything that's coming from the migrant caravan and the US midterm elections, you can find it on our website. We have a lot more information than just today. We have videos coming up by the hour. We have articles on Latin America and the region, opinion articles as well that we're sure you will enjoy. And you can also like us on Facebook and on Instagram as well. Thank you for watching Telesur. I'm Carla Gonzalez, and until next time, we are connecting the Global South.